Okay, so it's a couple of minutes past 5 here in the UK. So I think we'll get things going. So welcome everyone to this webinar and thank you for joining us today. I know you're all busy people, so thanks for taking the time to join us for the next 30 minutes or so. I'm Faisal Akhtar and I'm joined by my colleague Thomas Krauklis. We're from the customer team here at NC Squared and we'll be your hosts for today's webinar. Just a bit of housekeeping first. This is a one-way webinar, so we're the only ones on camera and audio, including any recording. If you'd like to ask a question, please do so using the chat or question panel, which some of you have already found. We've also got a couple of quick polls for you, so when they pop up, please just vote by clicking the answer that appeals to you most. There's no right or wrong answers, and I promise there are no trick questions. But unfortunately, there are also no prizes for fastest finger first. So to today's agenda. Very shortly, Toms and I will take you on a whistle-stop tour of the new features in our latest release. We'll have some time after that for some questions. So again, do pop them in the chat as you think of them, and we'll answer them at the end. Finally, we'll wrap up with some next steps and takeaways for you. And before we jump into the features in detail, just a recap of why we're here today. So the latest version of Distribution Engine by NC Squared is called Koala. It was released on the 16th of January, so you may already be using it. The upgrade is seamless and preserves all of your configuration and settings. It's available on the App Exchange already at no additional cost to our customers, so you can choose when to upgrade. But please remember, we will start to push this to customers from the week of February 20th. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Toms, who'll take you through some of the new features in Distribution Engine. Toms.
Thank you, Faisal. Hi, everyone. So what have we added for you in our latest release? First off, we're excited to be rolling out our assignment simulator. When configuring a new use case or when you need to investigate why an assignment happened, you can now use our new assignment simulator. This allows you to run a record through a mock simulation across all teams and distributors, enabling you to accurately simulate what will happen without actually assigning the record. Then we have criteria-based caps. This is a new type of cap that will allow you more control over capping by allowing a cap to be placed on the distributor, which limits how many records it will assign to users based on criteria rather than a time period. Manual assignment is another feature we've added, which allows you to manually assign a record to a user whilst retaining the ability to use distribution engine features such as waiting and capping, SLAs, and auto reassign. And finally, we've made a number of other changes and additions, including completion of our application reskin, distribution sync enhancements, the ability to clone tags, and improved onboarding. And you also have access to a shiny new knowledge base. So let's start off with Assignment Simulator and over to Faisal for a demo.
It's often the case that our customers set up a new configuration or modify an existing one and would like the reassurance that records will be routed as intended outside of a live environment. Those of you who have used our test tool know it's really useful but limited to a single distributor at a time, which can be time consuming. Assignment Simulator effectively provides a mechanism for a previewed simulation of assignment of that record across all your teams and all your distributors. You can receive feedback in one of two ways. Firstly, the quick simulation shows you which team and distributor that record goes to, or you have the option to pick the full simulation, which allows you to go through the results and see specifically why a particular distributor assigned the record, or why it didn't for that matter. You will have a number of options at hand, which will help you mimic what would happen in a live situation. We anticipate Assignment Simulator will be used for troubleshooting, but also to test new configurations or changes to existing ones, but essentially to help better understand what DE is doing when it comes to assignment. So let's show you how this will work via a short demo. You can get to Assignment Simulator in a couple of ways. The team list and distributor list pages allow you to open it in a modal via those pages. You simply go to the three dots on the top right hand side and select Assignment Simulation. You can also access it directly from a record via the Distribution Engine Record Detail, which is a Lightning component you can add to your layout. You just need to click the View the Assignment Simulation link here at the bottom. As we've accessed it directly from the record, you can see it's pre-populated the record ID here. We can pick a full or quick simulation from these buttons. So let's start with a quick simulation. You can also mimic a date and time, and this will take into consideration shifts, out of office and holidays. It can also help with new setups. For example, over the weekend a record comes in at 5 a.m. in the morning. It probably doesn't go to anyone, and that's something you'll need to address if you did need it to route at that time. Overwrite source allows you to treat the source as if it were different for the purpose of the simulation. This allows you to mimic a queue, a user, or status used by your distributors as a source, so the record does not have to be modified for the simulation. You can ignore caps if you just want to test and aren't concerned if your users are busy at this point in time. You can also include inactive teams and distributors to test new configuration. And here at the bottom, you can stop the simulation once it's found someone to assign to, or you can let it run through everything, even once it's found a recipient. You then hit Run Simulation, and it will go away and do its thing. So here you can see the team and distributor have come back, and that's all you may want to see. But if we click through, which is the equivalent of a full simulation, it takes you to this Explorer page, which allows you to navigate through the simulation. Here at the top, we can remind ourselves what our setup was, and where we can also navigate back to the record if we so wished. Results are displayed grouped by team in assignment order. We can go through team by team and see which of them could have accepted that record, and then drill down into each distributor, checking where things would have failed or matched. You'll be able to go through and find out why a record has been assigned to someone or not, as the case may be. So the simulator is great at telling you which distributor will be responsible for routing the record. That is something we can do with confidence as long as you don't change your distributor setup. So what it will do is help people understand how DE works, and specifically what setup criteria affect the distribution of records. It's something we will continue to enhance and build out over our coming releases. Okay, so now I'll hand over to Toms, who'll run you through our new criteria-based caps.
First, let's look at caps as they exist before Koala, and then we will look at the new features introduced in Koala that will give you even more flexibility. Ensuring fair and manageable workloads manually can be difficult. Assigning a large volume of leads to the rep all at once can be overwhelming and make it difficult for the rep to prioritize their own work. DE caps allow you to cap the number of records distributed to the individual, or cap how many records the rep can have with them at any one time. Distribution Engine has two levels of caps. Team level caps allow you to control the total number of assignments a team member receives over a time period. For example, you can allow a team member to receive a maximum of 100 leads every month, as you can see in this example here. DE also has an active cap. Active caps are based on the number of active records a team member owns. For example, you could set an active cap only to allow a rep to be working on a maximum of 10 leads in total at any one time. Distributor caps limit the number of assignments made to each team member through this distributor. For example, you can allow a team member to receive a maximum of 10 warm leads every week. In Koala, we're introducing criteria caps to allow you more control and give your reps a mix of different records to work on. Criteria caps allow a cap to be placed on a distributor that limits how many records you will assign to users based on criteria rather than a time period. This can be used to ensure that users only have a certain number of records from a specific distributor or in a specific state at the same time. For example, you could set a criteria cap only to allow a rep to be working on a maximum of 2 hot leads at any one time, or your support agent to be only handling a maximum of 2 critical cases at one time, while the rest of their capacity is filled with lower priority cases. Criteria caps can be based on either field or distributor filters. Field will count all records assigned to a user that matches a field filter. In my example, I only want to count leads where industry equals hospitality. Distributor filters will count all records assigned to a user that meet the current filters for that distributor. DE caps are a great feature to ensure manageable workloads, fairness across the team, and an easy way to automate complex requirements. Great. A poll should appear on your screen on the right-hand side if it hasn't already. So that poll is about your use of caps in Distribution Engine. Please answer when you can, and we will recap the results at the end of the webinar. Next, Faisal is going to walk us through our new manual assignment feature.
So what if you had an exception for records that fell outside of a standard workflow? For example, to top up reps or agents, and wanted a quick and easy way to manually assign them and also utilize DE features such as waiting and capping, SLAs, and auto reassign. Well, now you can by using our new manual assignment feature. It's something a lot of our customers have asked us to add to the app. Let's show you this via a brief demo. So let's go to a record and show you how this works using a new distributor type. In order to set this up, you need to create manual distributors, which have a few options around how the assignment will occur. Manual distributions are performed from the Distribution Engine record details component, which should be available on the layout for the object type that you'd like to manually distribute. Navigate to the record that you wish to distribute and click the Assign button. From here, you can select which team you want to distribute to, and this list is populated by every team with an active manual distributor. When a team is selected, you can then choose which team member to distribute to. Each team member is shown with their current availability, which can be clicked on to display their shift, time zone, and shift hours for the current date. The total number of records of the current type assigned to the selected user is shown, and if you click the icon next to that, you can see how this contributes to their cap. So select the user you want to manually assign to, and this will then effectively direct the lead through DE whilst hitting those DE features such as capping, SLAs, and auto reassignment. This feature enables managers or team leads to overrule DE where they may have complex setups and allows them to prioritize those assignments. Manual assignment lets you assign a record to a specific user in a Distribution Engine team, but retaining a lot of the features that you wouldn't have access to in Salesforce, such as waiting and capping, auto reassignment, and tracking and SLAs. Now I'll hand you back to Tom's, who'll take you through some more new features.
In this release, we are finishing the reskinning of Distribution Engine. This has been an ongoing initiative spanning multiple releases to introduce a new, consistent look and feel throughout the application. We have redesigned the console and introduced a new application monitoring page. This page displays the current system status of Distribution Engine and its 4 major components: the scheduler, the health checker, the classifier, and object sync. This page can be used as a general indicator of system status, displaying whether the system is running and if any problems have been encountered. Think of it as your mission control. The today's distribution page shows the day's statistics for each team. This can be used to monitor distribution rates and to view any distribution or availability concerns. The following columns show the number of records in each state for the team, distributions, SLA alerts, reassignments, and errors. The available users field shows how many users are currently available for assignment out of the total number of team members. We've also redesigned the sources page. This shows how many records in total are available in the source, and how many of those are able to be distributed by the shown distributor. The availability calendar console page gives a month-by-month overview of the availability of your teams, so you can see who's working when and if there are any gaps in your schedule. We have also redesigned the analytics page and improved the filtering functionality. You can find this page under the Distribution Analytics tab. These improvements have made DE more intuitive and easier to use and given it a more modern look and feel. In some cases, you might want to distribute a whole package of work to your reps instead of just the lead or the account. Object Sync has been a DE feature for some time. You can find Object Sync under the Distribution Sync tab. Distribution Sync allows DE to update the owner of child objects to match their parents when the parent object is assigned. For example, when assigning an account object, Object Sync can automatically update any opportunities that are child of that account to the newly assigned owner. In my example, I've also added a couple of filters. In Koala, we have improved this feature further. Object Sync can now handle any Salesforce object. For example, I have a custom contract object that will follow the account record when it gets distributed. This allows you to automatically distribute the whole relationship instead of just the one record. You won't need to do this manually or with custom Salesforce automation. Team managers can spend a lot of time onboarding new joiners. In Koala, we have improved the onboarding process for new team members. When adding new team members, you can now choose a wizard approach, where you can optionally base the setup on an existing user. In my example, I'll base the setup on Mary's user. Next, you can adjust their hours, tags, and waiting if needed. We have listened to your feedback and reintroduced the feature to clone tag assignment. For example, I want this user's tags to be based on Faisal's tags. Here, you have the option to append or replace, and clone the tag assignment. These new features will allow you to onboard and manage your team members quicker and easier. If you have any fields that need to be updated after assignment, it can be time-consuming and complicated to do this manually or with Salesforce automation. For example, you might want to change the status of a lead after it's been distributed. Until now, you were able to update one field. We have made improvements and will allow more fields to be updated via DE. For post-assignment, assignment rejection, and auto reassignment, we will now allow up to 3 fields to be updated instead of the previous one. This allows you to use DE to automatically update these fields instead of having to use Salesforce automation or having to do this manually. We are also launching a brand new knowledge base. Our knowledge base is a repository of helpful setup guides, troubleshooting tips, and detailed overviews of every one of our features. Our new knowledge base has an improved search and navigation to allow you to find exactly what you're looking for easier. It also has an improved overall look and feel to bring it in line with Distribution Engine. You can access the new knowledge base the same way as you've accessed our previous one, from the help.ncsquared.com or from the contextual help icons in the application.
Thank you, Thomas, for an excellent overview of the new features in Koala. I'm sure you'll all agree. Okay, so now it's time for our second and final poll. So get ready with your voting fingers, and the question should pop up on your screens on the right-hand side. So the question is, which features are you most interested in exploring more? And the options are assignment simulator, criteria caps, manual assignment, team member onboarding, multiple field updates, or object sync. Please vote, and we'll reveal the responses shortly. Okay, so on to the questions, and I can see there have been quite a few coming in during the demos, so thank you for those. We've got a few minutes to answer these, and I've got our head of product in the background making sure I give the right answers to the trickier ones, so thank you, Charlie. If we don't get to your questions on the broadcast, we'll still try and answer these afterwards. Okay, so let's have a look. The first question we got through was, will the recording be shared after the webinar? Yes, a recording will be available after the live event. Okay. Another question we've got here is regarding assignment simulator. If the source is a user, will the assignment simulator still work if we don't change the user? If not, then how would you suggest we use the assignment simulator before the record makes its way through the distribution funnel? Okay, so I'll pass that one across to Charlie. Okay. So the assignment simulator does check the source of a record before simulating the assignment, so ensuring that you are able to test scenarios in this area. For flexibility, the assignment allows you to override the source to any queue or user that your distributors use, and also allows you to choose a field or value if you are using assigned by status. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, so let's see if we've got any more coming through. We've got one on manual assignment. So who should have access to the DE Lightning component? Would that be admins, managers, or users? So for that one, any user with a distribution engine license can view the DE Lightning component. However, the access to features that they will see will vary depending on their permission set. So only admins and system managers or team managers will have access to assignment simulator from the Lightning component. Thank you for that question. Okay, let me just have a look what else has come through. One here regarding the DE component. So how do you get the distribution engine component onto the lead record? So the distribution engine record details Lightning component can be added to record layouts by editing the page from the gear icon. So all you need to do is search record detail on our knowledge base for full instructions on how to do that. Okay. Another question here. For manual assignments, do they need to be part of the team? Does that record have to meet the criteria of that distributor? So the answer to that one is that they will need to be assigning to a member of the team that they have selected. So the record does not have to meet the criteria. So thank you for that question. Okay, just seeing if there's any more coming through. Here, another one is 22nd of February, a hard date for the release. Can we choose to release later, as we still have a bunch of testing to do? The answer to that is yes. Please do contact our support team though. Okay, so just a last call for any more questions. While we wait for those, let me have a look at the results of the polls. So if you remember, the first poll result, first poll question, I should say, was, are you currently using CAPS in Distribution Engine? So yeah, great responses there. I think around about a third of attendees and their teams are using active CAPS, so that's great to see. Some are also using time-based CAPS, and there are also a few who aren't using CAPS at the moment. So thank you for those responses. Those of you who aren't using CAPS, please feel free to check out our knowledge base, or even reach out to us directly if you'd like to know more about the capping options available within Distribution Engine, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. The second poll, so the question there was, which feature are you most interested in exploring more? So the resounding winner there was a good spread of interest, but the resounding winner there was the assignment simulator. So the others also garnered a good amount of interest. So it's really sort of interesting for us to see which features you're likely to explore next, as a lot of work has gone into developing these features from our product and engineering teams. So it's really nice to see which ones capture your attention. So thank you for that. Okay, just checking whether there's any further questions that have come through the chat. I have one last one here. Is there going to be a feature soon to help export maps? So that, we are aware of that requirement to export and import maps between orgs. This is on our roadmap, but currently it's got no scheduled release at this time, but we will obviously keep you updated on that. Okay, just having a look if there's any more questions that have come through. One last one here. In the past, you were able to go to settings, then licensed users. Once you selected the user, it showed you what distribution teams they belonged to, but also highlighted the ones they were active or inactive in. This is no longer the case. Why did that go away? Or how do we know what teams they are on and active in? So this was missed in the initial Jellyfish release, but it was added during a patch. So the team will appear in a different color if they are inactive within that team. And if you hover over the row, it will say whether the member or the team are inactive. Okay, I think that's all we have in terms of questions. I can't see any more, so I'm going to wrap up the Q&A there. Okay, well, hopefully you've learned a little bit about the great new features our product and engineering teams have been working on over the past months. We've seen our assignment simulator, which helps with investigating why an assignment happens, be that during testing a new configuration or trying to troubleshoot a setup. We've added criteria-based caps, which allow you more control over your capping by adding a cap to a distributor and controlling how many records are assigned to a user based on a criteria rather than time period. We've also added the ability to manually distribute a record whilst retaining a lot of the functionality that you've become accustomed to within Distribution Engine. Finally, we saw a few more updates to the functionality, completion of an app-wide reskin, enhancements to Distribution Sync, an improved onboarding experience, which includes allowing you to now clone tags, multiple field updates, and access to our brand new knowledge base. There are tons of other small improvements, so please check out the release notes for full details. And speaking of which, there are three main next steps that I'd like to point you towards. First of all, whether you've already installed or have that scheduled in the next few weeks, I'd encourage you to check out the release notes on our knowledge base. Simply go to help.nc-squared.com/koala. That has details of all the features that you've seen today, as well as a full guide to the update procedure. Next up, if you're ready to upgrade, you simply need to go to the Distribution Engine App Exchange listing and hit the Get It Now button. Finally, as a reminder, we will start pushing the new release to customers who haven't yet upgraded in the week commencing February 20th. If you'd prefer us to push to your org earlier, or you have any other upgrade questions, please email us on support@nc-squared.com. And all that remains for me is to say a big thank you to you all for your time today and for being our customers. From Tom's and I, we hope you have a great rest of your day and enjoy the new features in Distribution Engine.
Thanks, everyone.